You're all welcome to today's news analysis. This is not noise. This is power politics. If you love clear facts, sharp thinking, and real Nigerian politics, you're in the right place. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. Now let's go straight into it. Because something serious is happening inside ADC, and it can change 2027. ADC is no longer a small party. ADC is now a battleground. The African Democratic Congress is becoming the main table where big men are sitting. Not small names. Heavy names. Rotimi Amaechi has spoken. Former Rivers State Governor. Former Minister. A man who knows how power works. Amaechi has now backed Peter Obi. Not with jokes. Not with soft words. And he is clear on one thing. Zoning must stand. This is why ADC is shaking. Because zoning is not just a rule. Zoning decides who can win and who must wait. ADC is now being shaped as a coalition party. One main goal. Defeat Tinubu in 2027. And everyone inside knows this fight is real. Now let us slow this down and understand why this moment matters. ADC used to be a quiet party. It stayed away from big noise. It stayed away from power fights. But that season is over. The moment powerful figures started looking for a new home, ADC became important. Not because of its past strength, but because of its future promise. ADC is now being discussed in serious rooms. Not on the streets alone. Not just online. In meetings where plans are drawn and numbers are counted. Rotimi Amaechi stepping forward changed the tone. Amaechi is not careless with words. When he speaks, it is planned. When he takes a side, it is deliberate. His support for Peter Obi is not emotional. It is strategic. It is political. And it sends a message to everyone watching. Amaechi understands power rotation. He understands balance. He understands what happens when agreements are broken. That is why zoning matters here. Zoning is not just about north or south. It is about trust. Once trust is broken, coalitions collapse. And ADC leaders know this truth very well. This is why ADC is no longer quiet. Debates are growing. Meetings are tense. Positions are being taken. Some members want clear rules. Others want open space. And this difference is now public. Peter Obi's name sits at the center of this storm. Not because he asked for it, but because his presence changed the balance. Since Obi joined, ADC stopped being an option. It became a threat. A real one. For the first time, many Nigerians are looking at ADC and saying, this party can actually win. That alone creates pressure. Pressure to choose direction. Pressure to choose loyalty. Pressure to choose between personal ambition and collective victory. Amaechi choosing Obi is also a signal to undecided members. It tells them the South is serious. It tells them the South is watching. And it tells them zoning is not a joke. ADC leaders now face a big test. Do they want unity or confusion? Do they want structure or chaos? Because once a party opens its door without rules, everyone rushes in. And when everyone rushes in, no one listens. This is the stage ADC is standing on right now. One wrong move can split the house. One strong decision can strengthen it. It is not about elections yet. It is about foundation. If ADC cannot manage power talks now, it cannot manage power later. Amaechi's voice added weight to the scale. Not because he is perfect, but because he is experienced. He has seen parties rise and fall. He has seen alliances fail. And he has seen what happens when greed defeats planning. ADC is no longer watching from the corner. ADC is now inside the ring. And the bell has already rung. What happens next will decide whether ADC becomes a true coalition force, or just another party that missed its moment. This is only the beginning. What is happening inside ADC is no longer speculation. It is now a clear political disagreement backed by facts, positions, and interests. At the center of this disagreement is zoning. Zoning is the informal power-sharing rule that rotates the presidency between the North and the South. It is not written in the Constitution. But in Nigerian politics, it is treated as a serious agreement. After 8 years of a northern president, power moved to the South. Many political leaders believe it must remain there until 2031. This belief is now shaping decisions inside ADC. Peter Obi is from the southeast. Rotimi Amaechi is from the south-south. Several ADC stakeholders argue that zoning gives the South the moral and political right to produce the party's presidential candidate. This position has gained strength since ADC began talks about becoming a coalition platform for 2027. The coalition includes figures from different parties and regions. Among them are Atiku Abubakar, Nasir El-Rufai, Rotimi Amaechi, and Peter Obi. The goal of this coalition is clear: defeat President Bola Tinubu and the APC in 2027. But unity without agreement is fragile. And zoning has become the line that separates cooperation from conflict. Atiku Abubakar is from the northeast. He has contested the presidency multiple times. His political structure remains active and ambitious. Sources within the coalition confirm that Atiku does not support zoning. His position is simple. He believes the presidency should be open to all regions. This stance directly clashes with the position held by Amaechi and other southern voices within ADC. For them, zoning is not negotiable. They argue that removing zoning will weaken trust and reduce southern support for the coalition. This disagreement is not hidden. It is now discussed openly in political circles. It is shaping meetings, alliances, and internal decisions. Peter Obi's entry into ADC on December 31, 2025, changed the equation. Before then, zoning debates were theoretical. After Obi's entry, they became practical. With Obi in ADC, zoning suddenly has a beneficiary. It creates a clear advantage for a southern candidate. This is why zoning is no longer a neutral policy. It is now a deciding factor. Rotimi Amaechi's support for Obi must be viewed in this context. It is not an emotional endorsement. It is a political position aligned with zoning. Amaechi has publicly emphasized that agreements must be respected. He has warned that ignoring zoning could destabilize the coalition. ADC leaders are now under pressure from both sides. Northern interests want flexibility. Southern interests want certainty. This tension is affecting party planning. It is slowing down consensus. It is forcing leaders to choose where they stand. Political analysts note that ADC's strength depends on clarity. A party cannot promise fairness while avoiding hard decisions. If ADC endorses zoning, it may lose northern ambition but gain southern unity. If it removes zoning, it may attract northern contenders but risk southern withdrawal. This is the political reality. What makes this situation more sensitive is timing. The 2027 election cycle is approaching fast. Parties that delay decisions often pay the price. ADC is being watched closely by voters, donors, and political blocs. Every signal matters. Every statement is analyzed. Within the coalition, zoning is now the main test of sincerity. Many supporters believe that breaking zoning will prove that the coalition is built on convenience, not principle. Others argue that zoning limits competition and weakens democracy. This argument has supporters, but it lacks widespread acceptance in the current climate. Nigeria's recent political history favors balance over risk. Parties that ignore regional sensitivity often face backlash. This is why the zoning debate inside ADC is not just internal politics. It has national implications. The party's next official position will influence trust, voter alignment, and coalition stability. At this stage, no final decision has been announced. But the divide is real. And it is deepening. ADC is no longer dealing with theory. It is dealing with consequence. How this issue is resolved will define the party's direction, credibility, and chance in 2027. The developments inside ADC are now moving beyond internal discussion. They are beginning to shape the wider 2027 political calculation. ADC is no longer being assessed as a fringe party. It is now viewed as a possible central platform for opposition unity. This change in perception is driven by one factor: the presence of strong political figures with nationwide influence. With Peter Obi, Rotimi Amaechi, Atiku Abubakar, and Nasir El-Rufai linked to the coalition talks, ADC now carries real political weight. But weight alone does not win elections. Structure, clarity, and discipline do. This is where the zoning debate becomes decisive. If ADC formally adopts zoning and keeps the presidential ticket in the South, the political map changes immediately. Southern voter confidence increases. Regional blocs that feel excluded by past arrangements may re-engage. Peter Obi benefits directly from such a decision. His support base remains strong in the Southeast and parts of the South-South. Zoning also strengthens his acceptability beyond his core region, especially among voters who prioritize fairness and balance. Rotimi Amaechi's position reinforces this direction. His influence in the South-South and within national political networks adds credibility to the zoning argument. For the coalition, this path offers a clear identity. It presents ADC as a party that respects agreements and understands Nigeria's delicate balance. However, this path also carries cost. Atiku Abubakar's ambition becomes constrained. Northern political structures aligned with him may feel sidelined. This could reduce Northern enthusiasm for the coalition. The alternative path is equally risky. If ADC removes zoning and opens the contest to all regions, the party gains flexibility but loses moral clarity. Southern stakeholders may interpret this as betrayal. Support could fragment. Peter Obi's role would shift from advantage to uncertainty. Amaechi's support could weaken. The coalition could become crowded and unstable. In Nigerian politics, perception matters as much as policy. A party seen as inconsistent struggles to build trust. This is why ADC's decision will shape not only its internal cohesion but its national appeal. The APC, led by President Bola Tinubu, is closely observing these movements. A divided opposition works in APC's favor. A unified coalition presents a serious challenge. Tinubu's political strategy depends on opposition fragmentation. ADC's ability to manage internal disputes will determine whether that strategy succeeds. Beyond party politics, the zoning debate reflects a larger national concern. Many Nigerians are focused on inclusion, fairness, and stability. Economic pressure and insecurity have made voters more sensitive to political imbalance. Any party that appears careless with these concerns risks rejection. ADC's leadership is therefore facing a defining moment. Their next steps will signal whether the party is prepared for national responsibility. Political observers note that successful coalitions often make early, firm decisions. Delays create doubt. Doubt reduces momentum. For ADC, time is no longer a luxury. As 2027 approaches, voters will seek clarity. They will want to know what the party stands for and who it represents. If ADC presents a clear Southern candidacy backed by a united coalition, it may mobilize a strong nationwide challenge. If it fails to manage ambition, it may repeat the mistakes of past alliances. This chapter of ADC's journey is not about personalities alone. It is about systems, agreements, and political maturity. Nigeria's electoral history shows that opposition victories are rare but possible. They require discipline, sacrifice, and shared vision. ADC's current choices will determine whether it becomes a credible alternative or a missed opportunity. The outcome of the zoning decision will echo beyond party walls. It will influence voter confidence, regional alignment, and the tone of the 2027 race. At this point, the path forward is still open. But it is narrowing. ADC must decide quickly and clearly. Because in Nigerian politics, hesitation is often the difference between relevance and failure. The situation within the African Democratic Congress has reached a critical stage. What began as coalition discussions has now turned into a defining political test. The zoning disagreement is no longer an internal matter. It has become a signal to the wider public about the party's direction, values, and readiness for national leadership. ADC is under pressure to make a clear decision. Indecision will weaken confidence. Clarity will strengthen credibility. Political actors within and outside the coalition are watching closely. Their next alignments will depend on how ADC resolves this issue. The 2027 election timeline leaves little room for delay. Parties that fail to settle internal disputes early often struggle to build momentum. For ADC, the choice is simple but consequential. Maintain zoning and present a united Southern-backed candidacy, or abandon zoning and risk internal fragmentation. Either decision will shape alliances, voter trust, and electoral strategy. What happens next will determine whether ADC emerges as a serious opposition force or fades under internal pressure. The coming months will reveal whether the party can manage ambition, enforce agreement, and offer Nigerians a clear alternative. This decision will not only affect ADC. It will influence the balance of power heading into 2027.